Welcome back to Freezing Anime Review Part 6. This was discussing the E-Pandora Rebellion arc. Yes, covering episodes 20 and 22, and this arc roughly covers chapters 68 to 81. Yes, roughly a long arc. Like it's probably the highest they've adapted for this whole entire series so far. Though I think they've loosely started adapting the previous arc, but this arc was roughly, let's see, 14 chapters and adapting in about 3 episodes. They kind of started adapting the previous arc. Yes. Now, Satellizer and Katsuma basically come back to the facility because, well, they had to come back because they were called back by Rina. And because the fact that, well, Amelia had overheard Andre discussing that she was one who revealed the details with the E-Pandora stuff. So she convinced everybody to escape from the facility. Yep, escape. So they sort of like instigate sort of rebellion. Well, of course, she also had injected herself with the Mark IV, which is meant for somebody else. Now, before this, the Kansa Eater, well, it was revealed that she was the one who was chosen to take it. But Amelia's like, no, I'm going to take it and not have everybody else take it. So she, of course, tries to escape. They're lucky enough that Katsuma, Statalizer, Rena, along with Elizabeth and Andre, are on her side helping her escape. Though they're stopped first by Charles. Yes, that's her name, Charles. She's the daughter of Mark Stevens. Yep. And she ends up fighting Elizabeth. Of course, Andre is there. The battle itself lasts for about 2 episodes, and it nearly kills both Andre and Elizabeth just to beat her. In the case of Cassie, who's in this arc, she fights her number 1, Julie. Which, I should point out, though, about this woman, it has very lesbian tendencies in the anime, despite the fact never displaying this in the manga, though this hints this during their fight between the two of them, though Cassie ends up beating her. The fight between the two of them takes up the entirety of the 3-part arc. Now, in the case of, well, you have the fight that Amelia gets away to safety. Thinks, well, basically Katsuma, Rina, and Satellites on Amelia are stopped by Clifton. Yes, the unstoppable monster, and she's not on their side. She's on the wrong side of the stuff. So they allow Amelia to get away. So you have Rena and Statalizer taking on Clifton. This fight is not concluded yet because the fight sort of, well, for Rena kind of ends with her being stabbed by her after thinking they'd beaten her, but nope, she ends up getting up and stabbing her right through the freaking gut with her gauntlet arm that she's got. Yep, and then the arc ends on a cliffhanger. Yes, it is by far the only arc that does, because the events in this arc leads into the 11th Nova Clash arc, with Amelia going to Lab Zero, where Scarlet O'Hara is, and seeing something. It looks like more Pandoras. Yes, though in the case of Clifton, she reveals up a true Pandora. Though there's revelations about her later, though the next arc is her last appearance in the series, and we'll be discussing that when I discuss 11th Clash Nova. I'd say this arc was pretty good. I would say almost all the fights except for one are concluded by the time you finish watching this arc, because the one arc left leads right into the 11th Clash. Now, in the case of Elizabeth's family, her company nearly went bankrupt over the fact they leaked information about this. Oh my gosh. And the Cavaliers, oh boy. The Cavalier organization, my gosh. These guys are so pig-headed that they leaked information about this project, which I have heard both in the manga and anime, this part is true. Katsuma's grandfather was actually against this project. He hated the idea of this. He's seen actually in the arc, and he only interacts just with his assistant. He doesn't really interact with any of the characters. Katsuma does interact with him in the Valkyrie introduction arc, which I'll discuss more about that when I discuss that arc. And yes, I will be discussing the arcs of the manga that the anime didn't bother to adapt. Yeah, because with 11 Nova Clash. That's the last arc of the anime. And there's still like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's roughly 6 arcs to come right after where the anime left off. And I will be discussing more about that when I discuss basically the, well, first arc being the student president duel arc and how really quick it is. I will be discussing that later. Yep. But in the case of what they did with this arc, it's good. I would say that a lot of this stuff. Now, Elizabeth herself does do the same things before, telling Satellites to stand down, but she's like, no, I'm not standing down. I'm basically on her side. I want to help her out. He's like, okay. And apparently the L-Bringers basically are involved with this. And stuff of the next arc, 11 Clash, is mentioned to be an after effect, basically, for the next couple arcs, which don't know why the anime decided to stop with the next arc. Don't know why, despite the fact you can easily just adapt it, no problem. It's a very quick arc. It's only just about 4 or 5 chapters. You can easily adapt this into one episode, but nope, you decide to have just to stop with the very next arc. Probably because of low ratings. I'm not really sure why, but I'll discuss more about that later. And tomorrow I'll be discussing basically the last 2 episodes of this series, along with its OVAs. But in the case of what I think of what the anime did with this arc, I think they did a pretty good job. Yes, they kept a lot of the stuff in from the manga. And in case you're curious, though, do they have any, let's just say, fan servicing moments in this arc? The answer is no. They don't have any. Probably because the animators we got chastised by the public. Well, basically, viewers of this series are having too much fan service. Which, in the case of this arc, the only kind of fan service we get is we see Scarlet in the shower. That's it. That's the only fan service thing we get this whole. Well, we do see we see at the start of this arc, we see a little bit of fan service, but once the action starts up, no more fan service. There's not even any shedding of clothing, which is not much shedding of clothing in this arc, which is quite surprising for the anime to basically hold back on it, because they're basically never resisting basically doing it, because all the women's breasts have been shown all the entire series. Yep, but not much else to say about this arc. It's pretty good. Okay, so that's it for this review, and that's it for videos today. So stay tuned tomorrow. My next video for this series discussing the final arc of the anime, the OVAs, and the arc to come right after that. Along with Usagi-chan wants to hang out. Yes, I'll be discussing that tomorrow, because new episodes come out tomorrow. And I think that might be it for tomorrow. We'll do this next video. Bye.